Okay, before we start with that, what I wanted to do was read a part on dependent origination. This is chapter number 12, Nidana Samyutta. This is called the Origination. Monks, before my awakening, while I was still a bodhisattva, not yet fully awakened, it occurred to me, alas, this world has fallen into trouble, in that it is born, ages and dies, it passes away and is reborn. Yet it does not understand the escape from this suffering, headed by aging and death. When will there be an escape discerned from this suffering, headed by aging and death? Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists does aging and death come to be? By what is aging and death conditioned? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is birth, aging and death comes to be. Aging and death has birth as its condition. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists does birth come to be? By what is birth conditioned? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is habitual tendency, birth comes to be. Birth has habitual tendency as condition. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when that exists, when what exists does habitual tendency come to be? By what is habitual tendency conditioned? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is clinging, habitual tendency comes to be. Habitual tendency has clinging as its condition. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists does clinging come to be? By what is clinging conditioned? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is craving, clinging comes to be. Clinging has craving as condition. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists does craving come to be? By what is craving conditioned? Then, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is feeling, craving comes to be. Craving has feeling as condition. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists does feeling come to be? By what is feeling conditioned? Then, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is contact, feeling comes to be. Feeling has contact as condition. Now, this makes it sound like it's a pretty fast process, but it's not. What he was doing was he put the question to himself, and he sat and he meditated, and then he saw. So this is ask the question, sound familiar, and wait for the answer. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists does contact come to be? By what is contact conditioned? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there are the 6 sense bases, contact comes to be. Contact has the 6 sense bases as condition. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists do the 6 sense bases come to be? By what are the six sense bases conditioned? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is mentality, materiality, the six sense bases come to be. The six sense bases have mentality, materiality as condition. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists does mentality, materiality come to be? By what is mentality, materiality conditioned? Then, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is consciousness, mentality, materiality comes to be. Mentality, materiality have consciousness as condition. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists does consciousness come to be? By what is consciousness conditioned? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there are formations, consciousness comes to be. Consciousness has formations as condition. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists do formations come to be? By what are formations conditioned? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is ignorance, formations come to be. Formations have ignorance as their condition. Thus, with ignorance as condition, formations come to be. With formations as condition, comes to be. With consciousness as condition, with mentality, materiality as condition, sixth sense base. With the sixth sense base as condition, with contact as condition, with feeling as condition, with craving as condition, with clinging as condition, with habitual tendency as condition, with birth as condition, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair comes to be. Such is the origin of the whole mass of suffering. So this is kind of important, because an awful lot of people that practice meditation, they read about what happened right after the Buddha became supremely enlightened. And the first thing he did was, for a week, he contemplated dependent origination. But so people think, well, it was after you become enlightened or awakened, then you contemplate dependent origination. But this was before he was awakened. Well, he was still only an unawakened bodhisattva, that he figured all of this out. On the night of his awakening, he saw it and realized it. Okay, he had the intellectual power to figure all of this out, but that's all it was intellectual power. When he saw it exactly like it was such a mind-altering wow that he got into the unconditioned. He let go of all conditions. And that's how you experience the unconditioned. That's how you experience Nibbana. Now, the next part of this is a cessation, but I'm just going to read one part of it. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what does not exist does aging and death not come to be. With the cessation of what does the cessation of aging and death come about? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there's no birth, aging and death do not come to be. With the cessation of aging and death, with the cessation of birth, cessation of aging and death. This is important to realize, that he didn't stop with just the arising. Okay, and say, well, that's the way it works. He tested it with the arising and with the ceasing to make sure it was correct. Now we're going to go to another small section about 2 ways to teach. Monks, I will teach you the wrong way and the right way. Listen to that and attend closely. I will speak. Yes, Venerable Sir, those monks replied. The Blessed One said this. And what, monks, is the wrong way? With ignorance as condition, formations come to be. With formations as condition, consciousness. In other words, how the suffering arises. Teaching that way is the wrong way. Now, when I was talking to you about the hindrances, a hindrance arises, and you 6 are the hindrance, and you come back to your object of meditation. After you get familiar with that, then you'll see there's something that happened right before your mind got really distracted. So you 6 are, and you come back, and this time you 6 are with that little thing that happened right before the distraction. Okay? So what I'm teaching you is the right way. I'm teaching you the cessation. Almost all monks, they love to talk about suffering and the cause of suffering. They very seldom talk about the cessation of suffering, and that's talking about the cessation is the right way to teach. So they've got things backwards right now. What, monks, is the right way? With the remainderless fading away of ignorance comes cessation of formations. With cessation of formations, cessation of consciousness. Such is the cessation of this whole mass of suffering. Monks, this is called the right way.